Hey, what is up guys, this is Cobb and welcome to the free-to-play account a few weeks in. We've got some champions to upgrade in this video and we're going to be covering all kinds of beginner tips to help you get started and just make sure that you're upgrading champions optimally, maximizing the rewards that you get and not wasting any resources in the process, man. But a quick overview of where the account is right now. Our Sun Wukong, obviously our campaign farmer for the time being, is sitting at level 60, which is great. Kale is 6 stars and is working his way towards level 60, which is also grand. His gear is a little bit all over the place, but it's okay, man. His crit rate is pretty good. We are also taking Apothecary up to level 50 as soon as possible. In fact, we're about to rank this guy up just now. And his speed is awesome, dude. We managed to hit like 200 speed on our Apothecary by just putting all of the items that just rolled decent speed stats on him as soon as humanly possible. And so he is fast as hell. He's going to help us go first in things like arena and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm extremely excited to get this guy ranked up to level 50 as well. And of course, after Apothecary, it's then going to be the likes of Tyrell, Rector Drath over here, Nalhorn and War Maiden are both very high priority as well to get up to at least level 50. Yeah, I think that we're just off to a great start on the free-to-play account, man. And hey, man, if you're looking to get involved and start up your own free-to-play account and play along with us in this free-to-play series yourself, then make sure you do so by clicking on the beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box. Click on that link after signing out of Plarium Play on your PC to download Raid and get yourself 4 free epic champions to kickstart your brand new account, man. Ugo as a starting champion, and it only gets better from there, man. Let's do this. How are you going to be upgrading your champions optimally in Raid Shadow Legends? Well, first of all, let's start off with how to best upgrade your skills and make sure that you're not wasting any resources on that front. So first of all, we're going to head on into the tavern building, and dudes, I gotta tell you the truth, it surprises me a little bit that this is even a tip, but this does trip some people up. The more veteran players are gonna say like, what the hell, really? This actually happens? But it does, and that is just make sure that if you're upgrading the skills on a champion like, I don't know, Apothecary right here, that because Apothecary is a rare champion, you want to be using rare skill tomes to rank up his skills, right? I don't want to be going ahead and spending the much more rare and difficult to get epic skill tomes to rank up a rare champion's skills. Doesn't make any sense at all. Frankly, it shouldn't even allow you to spend, you know, epic or legendary skill tomes on a rare champion. It just feels like it's just bait for new players who just don't know any better. Tip number 2 is going to be just make sure that you don't instantly spend all of the skill tomes required to fully max up a champion. What you actually want to do is pay really close attention to which skills you actually want to max up, that the skill books are having a chance of rolling into. So on the A1, it's all just a bunch of plus damage on Apothecary. That is a support style champion. It's not increasing his chance to place a debuff or anything like that. It's just damage and therefore is kind of useless to be ranking up this skill. Of course, we can't decide where the skill books go, but what we can do is just throw skill books into Apothecary just a few at a time and just see if we can get away with the skill books rolling into his A3 and his A2 and maxing those up first and getting the all-important cooldown reductions on these skills. And you know what? If we end up not fully maxing out the A1, that's fine. We can just leave that alone and we can just save the rest of our rare skill tomes. What you don't want to be doing, again, is just spending all your skill tomes instantly into a champ, because frankly, if we can save some tomes and not spend them all into the A1, then that is best for many champs in this game. Another heads up and another warning, really, is something that you do not want to be doing, and that is you do not want to be taking a campaign farmable rare champion like War Maiden and spending skill tomes to rank up your War Maiden's skills, okay? There's just no good reason to ever be doing that. What you want to be doing instead is actually just farming, in War Maiden's case, campaign stage 9, I think it is. I just got to double check real quick, and it does look like it is campaign stage 9, where you can farm up War Maiden in the Dreadlands. That is where you want to be farming copies of War Maiden, and then spending copies of War Maiden instead to actually rank up her skills, right? You can burn copies of a champion in order to rank up their skills, and this is a great way to rank up particularly your uncommon and rarity champions, because yeah, it's just very easy to get your hands on those champs, especially if it's a campaign farmable rare, right? So yeah, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and do this right now. Don't see any reason not to, so there it is. And we get to upgrade War Maiden's A4 just a little bit more. You can see I've made pretty good progress as well with the War Maiden 2 on this front. And therefore it naturally follows, because my apothecary is not campaign farmable, I'm just pulling this guy from shards, he would be a very, very good candidate to spend little bunches of skill tomes on at a time, just trying to max out his A2 and his A3. But I do not want to be spending any skill tomes in my tavern building right now. Not yet. You want to wait for a clan versus clan event to go live. Once you've joined a clan, a CVC event will begin about every 2 weeks, and that is generally the best time to be spending your skill tomes to earn yourself some easy points during those clan versus clan events, and help your clan to achieve victory, right, and get all kinds of extra free rewards as well. You can also spend skill tomes to rank up your skills during champion training tournaments, and that will also get you some points there too. But the deeper into the game you get, generally speaking, you're going to end up being in more and more active clans as your account gets a little bit older, and so you and your clanmates, usually you end up putting your heads together and saying, you know what, let's absolutely blast this next CVC event. And so the more active clans will tend to use their skill tomes during CVC instead of champion training tournaments generally. Okay, now man, next up on the menu, copies of champions. What do you want to be doing with copies of champions, right? Because do you really want to be using all of your epic champions to do things like upgrade the skills on your epic champs in the tavern? Do you want to be using copies of Tyrell, for example, to upgrade his skills? Well, probably not. What you probably want to be doing instead is heading on into your Guardian Ring building, and you want to be filling out your Faction Guardians slots for all of your factions. Now, if I go ahead and click onto the High Elves right here, you can see we've got a couple of champion copies, which is giving us a faction-wide boost of 10% HP to all of the rare champions that we've got for our High Elves faction. And yeah, you want to be doing the same thing as you get duplicates and copies as well of your epic champions for High Elves. This is going to be a super long-term project, but switching on over to my main account, you'll eventually get something that looks a bit more like this. And there you have it. Obviously, I've still got some work to do in terms of legendary champion copies for a lot of my factions as well, but you want all your faction crypts, or rather your faction guardians, to be looking like this eventually. It's a long-term project, but yeah, this is how you're going to be using your duplicate, rare, and epic champions for the most part. Additionally, once all of your faction guardians are filled in as well, the next thing you can start doing with your duplicate champions, for epic and legendary champions at least, is actually using copies to empower some of your champs as well. So I've got myself my main Ugo right here, and I've got 3 Ugos locked in as faction guardians. That's what these little yellow banners mean right here. If I wanted to, I could go ahead and throw all of these Ugos into all of these slots, and then 3 times empower my copy of Ugo, which is going to give us all kinds of extra stat boosts as well. Now, this is more of like a late game thing. Obviously, your faction guardian is going to take priority over this. But yeah, that is just something to be aware of, that champion duplicates take a long time to stop being useful. You know what I'm saying? And finally, back on over to the free-to-play account, we're going to go ahead and rank up one of our champs in just a second, but when do you actually want to be ranking up your champions? When do we want to be doing the bulk of the leveling for your champions? Well, that is going to be during specific events, specifically champion training tournaments and champion training events. None of those are active right now, but the Path of the Fate Weaver event is active right now. And if we click onto this, you can actually see that the objectives for this event are actually level upgrades and rank upgrades for our champions. So this is kind of like a, I don't know, it's a close enough champion training event. Basically, you want to be getting extra points in an event that is active currently, as you are doing things like ranking up your champions from 4 stars to 5 stars or 5 stars to 6 stars. Another tip for these events is that, frankly, the food champions that you're going to be using in these events to rank up your champs, for example, if I wanted to rank up my War Maiden right here, what you would not want to do is just take 3 unleveled 3-star champions to use as food, right? What you actually want to do is go ahead and pump some levels into all of these food champions first. Not too many, but just enough to farm yourself some very easy event points, and then use them as food. So here's our Houndspawn food champion right here, and honestly, a lot of content creators have different ideas of what you should be doing in an event like this to maximize the amount of points that you're getting. A lot of them will say actually throw 2 experience brews into your food champions, your level 3 food champions that is, to get them up to a level 15 very quickly and get some free points that way. I generally just throw 1 brew into my 3 cost food champions. That's just me. As a free-to-play player and as a beginner player, you probably don't have that many experience brews just kind of lying around ready to rock and roll. Like if you're anything like my account right here, like I'm in the 20s for all of my experience brews. I just don't have that many to go around. So what I'd be doing instead is I just hit like 2 or 3 campaign, stage 12 farming sessions and just run the hound spawn through a couple of campaign stages and just farm it up to like a level 10 or level 11 or something like that before using it as food. An example of where we've done that is actually right here. We actually have some 4-star food just right here on like the left side of the screen that we've already farmed up. This hound spawn is one of them. I've just leveled them up to level 12 and that's good enough for me. When your account is very, very new, like if you're in your first 30 days of raid, you probably have a lot of stuff to be spending your energy on. You have a lot of champions that you want to level. And you just don't have that much time for pumping levels into your food champions just to farm like event points and stuff like that, But generally speaking, my 4-star food on my main account, I level them to at least level 18, sometimes to level 20 using experience brews. And that's whether I do it on the main account. But for this beginner account, I think I'm fine to go ahead and rank up my apothecary with these food champions that are all just leveled up to 12 right now. Of course, we're losing a little bit of event points by doing this, but again, resources are scarce on these new accounts, So, anyways, yay, dude, we got our apothecary up to 5 stars. I'm pretty goddamn happy about that, man. This guy, Chad, didn't actually build this guy in my main account, by the way. I'm really, really happy to have this guy on the free-to-play account quickly enough that I can really justify building him out, man. I think it's going to be awesome. Another tip that we're going to cover right here is one that's not so obvious, I guess, but if you're more of like a seasoned player, you'll probably know about it. Once you can farm up to max level on Minotaur's Labyrinth to be farming up your Mastery Scrolls, which is going to be, of course, stage 15, then what you can do is, as long as you're farming up Mastery Scrolls on like 3 or 4 champions at a time, is I can go ahead and take my apothecary right here, who we've just ranked up to 5 stars. We can take our apothecary and like 2 or 3 other champions that we're farming masteries on, and I can just start blasting Minotaur on the apothecary to farm experience and his scrolls at the same time. And if you actually start at level 1 and 5 stars, again with like 3 or 4 champions at the same time, you can level them all the way up to level 50, then they go up to 6 stars, and then all the way up to level 60 from there, just using Minotaur. And by the time they get to level 60, you should only have like a few hundred mastery scrolls still left to farm. Of course, it depends on how many champions you're farming masteries on at the same time. The more champions you have, the slower it's going to be farming those mastery scrolls. But yeah, it's not an exact science. I haven't done the math, but it is just kind of interesting to note that if you do have like 3 or 4 champions at rank 5 that you are looking to take up to max level and you want to farm the masteries on them, then you can just start farming Minotaur's Labyrinth as soon as they hit 5 stars at level 1 and go from there, and they will be able to farm up all of the experience and almost all of the masteries before they hit level 60 just by blasting Minotaurs exclusively on those 3 or 4 champs, man. Which really, if anything, does a lot to describe just how long it actually takes and how much energy it takes to farm out all of your masteries in Minotaur, man. But it's still worth it. You still want to be doing that, man. I guess that could be the final tip. It is always better, if you can, where possible, to be farming your mastery scrolls in Minotaur. The last thing you want to be doing is, for like your 3rd or 4th or 5th champion in, is to be paying the 800 gems to unlock the masteries, man. It is just so inefficient. You spend less energy worth in gems in Minotaur than 800. I think it's like the equivalent of like 740 gems worth of energy in Minotaur to farm up a champion's scrolls. Plus you get like millions of silver for doing it per champion as well. Plus you're farming experience at the same time if you're farming the mastery scrolls before they hit max level. It's just all round way better, if more time consuming, to farm it in Minotaur instead. And so there you have it, man. That's all of like the beginner kind of fundamentals tips that I've got for any brand new players coming into raid, looking to get the most out of upgrading their champs and maximizing the rewards that they're getting from events and not wasting resources and all of that good stuff. But make sure that if you feel like I did miss any tips for the newer folks, drop them down below in the comments, man. Ooh, dude. This free-to-play account, it's coming online. It's feeling really good at this point, man. I'm so happy that Apothecary is going to be at level 50 soon enough. It's going to be sweet. I think Tyrell will probably be the next level 50 that we take up because he brings that AoE decrease defense at 100% land rate once he's fully bugged up. And so he's going to take priority over War Maiden for my account for that reason. But yeah, man, I think things are coming along great. I'd love to hear how your free-to-play accounts are coming along as well, man. And speaking of which, if you haven't started your free-to-play account just yet, then what are you doing, man? Start off your alt account right now by clicking on the beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description, man, to get yourself 4 free epic champions. All you gotta do is make sure that you're signed out of Plarium Player on your PC before clicking on that beginner promo link to ensure that you grab all of those juicy rewards. And then best of luck to you, man, as you play along with us in this free-to-play adventure. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all did enjoy this one, and I'm gonna catch all of you all just a tad bit later, man.